aftermath of the Ferguson shooting, Mike wrote a Billboard magazine op-ed, and he wrote this. He says, "I have searched all night and day for new and better words that could express my feelings and fear for the people of this country. I found no new words. I have no hope-filled insight to deliver. I only have this warning to all Americans. Whatever this country is willing to do, the least of us, to the least of us, it will one day do to us all." He calls himself a Pan-Africanist gangster rapper, a civics leader, an activist. He joins me now, right next to me, Michael Killer Mike Rinder. It is so nice to meet you, my friend, my fellow Atlantan. Thanks for rolling in New York. So listen, for people who don't know you, in addition to being an artist and a rapper, you are a father, you are a husband, you are a son. Yeah. And so that's where I wanted to begin, because your dad, Killer Mike, was a police officer. Yeah. And so especially when we talk about the events happening in Ferguson, you have a lot of thoughts on police, and he never wanted his kids to follow in his footsteps.
No, he got the call that my younger sister, who got thanks, she works in a school office now. Actually, she works in the middle school my son goes to, so that's a job within itself, policing him. But I remember when he first got the call that she may be going into law enforcement, and he was heartbroken.
Why?
Just because, unfortunately, police see the worst of human behavior a lot more than they see the best. And I think it beat him up as a really young man. I think he left for those reasons and having more children. And I really, friends of mine whose dads were police officers, some of their dads were killed on the jobs. So, it's not an easy road. And I hold police in a high and honorable,
position.
Yeah, it is, because it's so difficult to be. Most policemen are working class guys. Let's be honest. Most policemen come from the salt of the earth in America. Most of them are ex-soldiers or from the communities they police, ideally. And
so shouldn't they know the issues and know the people in their community?
They should, and they used to. And
what changed?
The culture of policing is changing. It's becoming more militarized. They're getting old military weapons. They're using kids that are fresh out of the military and using military tactics. We have essentially gone from being communities that were policed by people from the communities to being communities that are policed by strangers, and that's no longer a community. That's an area that's under siege.
But these tactics, this isn't new. These pictures, and I think what makes it different is the crowds, all of the people, the violence, the arrests, and everything else. But what is it that you think about what happened in Ferguson, and what is it now, 10, 11 days ago when Michael Brown was shot and killed? Why are we all talking about this? Because we could talk about Chicago every day. I could tell you, I could read all kinds of names of young people who've been shot and killed. Why Ferguson?
This seems very gratuitous. It is very, like, there's no gun found on the child. If there are no burns or gunpowder close, it says that they weren't in close proximity. And everything, my grandfather taught me, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, there's probably a duck behind that bush. And the consciousness of this country does not agree with this shooting. I don't think it agreed with Sean Bell. I don't think it agreed with Amadou Diallo. I don't think it agreed with Garner. I don't think it agreed, but I think that this is a child. This was a college-bound child. This was a child that had done childish stuff. Children shoplift. Children act like gangsters and robbers. Children do stupid stuff, but no one could go to bed at the night of finding out about this young man's murder comfortable that a child had been shot up to or more than 6 times in a defensive position.
I think it speaks to a bigger picture, which is Black Man in America in 2014. Talked to a lot of people about that. Spike Lee said there is a war on the black male. I want you to listen to what he said. Take a listen.
But I just think there's a war on the black male, and it's tearing the country apart, in my opinion. It's educational system. It's the prison system. It's with these young black men growing up with no hope. So I think it's systematic. And we get blinded to think that, because we have Oprah, we got Michael Jordan, we got LeBron, we got Beyonce, we got Jay-Z, like everything's okay. And I'm not trying to give any disrespect to the great individuals I just named, because many are my dear friends. But they are the exception. The black underclass is growing every single day.
Do you agree?
I agree with that, and I'd like to expound on that. That this is a black male issue. It has been for all my 30-something years on life, and I refuse to let you only think about that. Whatever this country is willing to do to the least looked upon. And we could all come to agreement that oftentimes, and more times than not, black males are the least looked upon. We're the least thought about in terms of education. We're the least thought about in terms of community violence. We're the least thought about in terms of community and police relations. But whatever this country is willing to do to them, to black people, to those males, will eventually happen to all Americans. So I'm saying to America, if they will violate the rights of an 18-year-old African-American child, what's going to happen within anyone?
The president spoke out the other night about this for the second time, and he pointed out there is a perception and then there is the reality. And keep that in your mind while I read this tweet that you retweeted. Somebody tweeted to you, Mike, this quote-unquote thug life trend has to end. It serves to fill cemeteries and prisons for foolishness. I mean, you yourself on your Twitter page refer to yourself as a gangster rapper.
Yep.
You are Killer Mike.
Yep.
How does that not, further extend and improve the president's point that there is a perception out there?
Well, first, let's say I am Killer Mike because I kill microphones, and I trust that people are intelligent enough to get it. You got it. So if you don't get that, then that's probably where we're going to end our intelligence conversation, because I trust Americans to be smart. Killer Mike is a gangster rapper. Before I get to the gangster rapper part, which is kind of tongue-in-cheek, I say, I'm Michael Render. I like my woman, weed, polo, and politics. I pretty much let you know what my political agenda are. It's close to my family, close to medicinal marijuana, and I follow politics as a hobby. When I say I'm a Pan-Africanist gangster rapper, I'm a Pan-Africanist in that I think that the African diaspora from West Africa to Caribbean to North America should be working wholeheartedly to fix our own problems. That means Atlantans should be donating money to Haiti, should be donating money to West Africa, and what we shouldn't be doing is worrying about how people perceive us. And in terms of a gangster rapper is just code word for, I say, very harsh, real, and brutal stuff, just like the stuff my dad saw on the street when he was a cop. But at the end, I offer some type of resolution, just like at the end of Kingian Nonviolence, which teaches you the 6 steps. At the end, there's always reconciliation.
It's interesting you bring up Atlanta and how Atlantans should help others. Atlantans should also help Atlantans. And so I want to take a quick break because I think what you're doing with this barbershop is fantastic in terms of what's happening in the community and how others could be doing the same. But also I want to ask you, and this is what we'll do on the other side of the break, what happens if, going back to what's happened in Ferguson, if this officer is not arrested? What happens then? Stay with me. Killer Mike, live on CNN. Watching the situation in Ferguson, Missouri here now, 12 days after 18-year-old Michael Brown was shot and killed. We can tell you that the Attorney General, Eric Holder, is there on the ground, watching, waiting to see if he'll make public comments. We'll bring it to you if and when he does. Meantime, sitting to my right here is activist and hip-hop artist Michael Killer Mike Render. We've been talking about a lot as pertains to your life as the son of a police officer, what you think about black men in America and what's happened in Ferguson. Quickly, what I love about your story, too, is that you believe in barbershops in the African-American community. There's one right by the Atlanta airport, and you believe you can have your finger on the pulse of what's happening in the community. You can help other, black people with jobs, with the economy.
Absolutely.
I'm curious if you have police officers roll through there, and what's the interaction?
Absolutely. I have a Atlanta marshal. I have 2 Fulton County sheriffs. I have 3 Atlanta City police officers that all are serviced at that shop. And it's important for me to them. And I told them, I want you coming to my shop because I want children not to fear the police. I want you coming to my shop because I want people knowing your people and they can actively engage. Our shop got broken into about a week before I left out for tour. Fulton County showed up prompt. Fulton County showed up on time. And I have built a great rapport with Fulton County in particular.
So important.
Yeah. And the shop is a swag shop. If you guys want to see it, it's beautiful. It's swagshop_ATL on IG. It is a place where I employ 7, 8 barbers. It's a place where community comes. Children are interned. They're taught to open the door for your mom. They're given Hot Wheels free with every haircut to build their interest in cars and mechanics and trades. I just wanted an alternative to the narrative that black men are suffering. Yeah, we're suffering. Underprivileged people suffer. And with that said, you can attend trade school. You can turn your life around within 1 generation. Anything is possible.
Killer Mike, what happens? Just take it back to Ferguson and then we've got to go. But what happens if and when this police officer is not arrested?
If this police officer is not arrested, what immediately may happen is fighting. It may be tears and pain and agony and burning, and I hope it's not that. But what really happens if this police officer isn't arrested is all of our rights are continually thrown out of the window. I'm afraid for all Americans. I'm not just afraid for Black Americans today. I'm afraid for all Americans, because whether it's this situation with this particular policeman in Ferguson, or illegal traffic stops, or a policeman asking you questions that directly interfere with your Fifth Amendment rights, things have gotten so lax to the point that we all have an apathy that we aren't on the case about the people we vote into office, meaning mayors, the people they appoint, police chiefs, and the people that are hired police. We as Americans have to be more vigilant about policing the people that we pay to protect and serve us.
Killer Mike, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.